What is the first name that pops up in your head when I say the words Master of Horror? It could be George A. Romero, it could be David Cronenberg, it could be Alfred Hitchcock. But one name that never seems to spring to anybody's head is Ingmar Bergman. Now, Ingmar Bergman is known for directing dramas and usually very emotional films, but today I'm going to try to explain to you guys why Ingmar Bergman is the secret master of horror. Now I'm going to be splitting this video up into three little parts. I'm going to be talking about three films that I think best display his ability to, scare. And the first one I'm going to be doing is all about how he can build suspense. The second example I'm going to be showing is how he can be very unexpected with his scares. And the third example will have to do with symbolism in death and how he kind of has mastered those subjects. And those are usually elements of horror films as well, and I'll explain to you why all these are scary to me and stuff. So, without further ado, let's get right into this. Let's talk about three scenes from three different films that I found to actually be scarier than a lot of horror movies. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about how he has mastered the art of horror. So let's just jump right into this with example number one. Now the first scene from an Ingmar Bergman film I'm going to be talking about is Fanny and Alexander, his 1982 masterpiece. Fanny and Alexander is a great movie. It'll make you cry, it'll make you laugh, it'll make you smile, and it might even make you scared. Well, not very often. And only about one scene. There's only one scene in this film that I found slightly disturbing, and that scene is the puppet room scene. The puppet scene perfectly displays Ingmar Bergman's ability to build suspense. Now, unfortunately, I can't find any versions of this scene on YouTube, but I did manage to find some still images from the scene, so I guess I'll have to explain it while showing the images. So, Alexander, the young protagonist of this film, is in the puppet room alone, the little puppet theater room, right? When suddenly a door creaks open by itself. Alexander asks who's there, and a low voice says, "God is here." Alexander asks God to show himself, but he refuses. When God finally does show himself, all the puppets on the wall start rattling like crazy, and Alexander realizes he's just a puppet, and it was a big joke. But the build-up of this God is still pretty creepy, and to top it all off, creepy slow piano music is playing in the background. What makes this scene so amazing is how perfectly it builds suspense. And of course, the disturbing imagery and creepy music doesn't hurt either. The next film I'm going to be talking about is one of his earlier masterpieces, Persona. Persona is probably Ingmar Bergman's greatest film ever. This movie scared me like no other film has, and it's only labeled as a drama. The scene I'm talking about from Persona is the montage scene. The montage at the opening is pretty creepy, but the moment that gets my pick is the creepy montage near the end of the film. This is the scene that perfectly displays Ingmar Bergman's ability to master unexpectedness. The reason this montage is creepier than the first montage is because of how unexpected it is. If the film starts off with disturbing imagery and music, you kind of expect that to go on for a few minutes and then it's over. But no, that doesn't happen. You think it's over for the whole film, but then near the end, the film abruptly and randomly stops running, and in 3 seconds time, boom, a creepy montage. There's goat intestines, a hand being nailed to a board, Satan getting out of bed, and just a minute of just really messed up stuff. When I first saw this, I really was creeped out, and if Ingmar Bergman's intentions were to scare or shock, he definitely achieved that, without a doubt. I was genuinely scared, and that's kind of hard to do. Now the final film I'll be talking about is Wild Strawberries. Wild Strawberries is a beautiful film, all about an old man, Isaac, reflecting on his achievements and sins in life. It's really sad at times, but by the end you feel very happy. The scene I'll be talking about from this movie is the dream sequence, near the beginning. I believe this scene perfectly displays Bergman's abilities to pull off symbolism and death, which are very common elements of horror and suspense stories. In this dream sequence, we see the old man walking down a street. The first thing he notices on the street is that the clock has no hands, which I think may symbolize the fact that he is out of time, but it's Bergman, so I can't be too sure. The next thing we see in this scene is Isaac approaching a man in a trench coat. He taps the man on the shoulder, and then the man turns around to reveal his really strange-looking face. Next thing you know, this creepy dude is dropped dead on the floor. After these two strange events, by far the creepiest event occurs. Isaac continues his promenade and sees two horses carrying a casket on a carriage. The horse's carriage gets stuck on something, I really kind of forget, and the casket rolls off the carriage. The old man approaches the now open carriage and is shocked to see his own dead body inside. The symbolism to that is pretty self-explanatory. This is by far the creepiest moment of this film, and maybe any Ingmar Bergman film. It's just so sad and so scary. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's an interesting topic to delve on. Not many people talk about how scary Ingmar Bergman's films are, but I think he has made some very scary films. But yeah, I'd say he is one of the masters of horror, even though he's not known as that. But he's an excellent director. I highly recommend you check all these movies out, because they're all worth your time. Any Ingmar Bergman movie is worth your masterpieces. The guy is maybe the best director of all time. So yes, definitely check some of those movies out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.